You might pay a little more. Just be lucky you can get it right now. So forget the price. You can get it or you cannot get it. So the dollar value means nothing now, because as we march down into late autumn, supply chains are going to constrict further, and you either had something or you didn't. And a quick FYI, when you're doing the nettle cleaning, I personally don't like this part at the top here, so I'll remove that, and then I'll only have the fresh leaf to use for the dish. Look how much free food that was. Simple. This meal cost me $2, the can of tuna. Everything else is free. Nature. As Americans seek economic protection during a highly political pandemic and nationwide shutdown, Bank of America is shining a light on gold to grow to $3,000, while analysts are calling for silver to reach $30 this year. Only one investment stands out: gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee for life IRAs, where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. Hey, good evening, everyone. Well, I went out to my friend's garden today to pick some of these beautiful peppers here. But through the garden, on the periphery where it wasn't weeded, guess what we got? An enormous amount of nettles. Vitamin C rich nettles. Well, that's some basil right there. Let me get that out. But yeah, these nettles. I talk about wild foraging. These are a high vitamin C source. Look how supple the leaves are. Little insect damage because they don't use any pesticides or herbicides out there. Purely natural. And you can see these leaves have grown up pretty well. So I'm going to cook this tonight as a dish, a vegetable dish that is a weed, basically. Vitamin C from stinging nettles, fresh here. And I'm going to try to put in a few of the peppers. Look how good those look in the light. Yeah, so this will be on the grill tonight. I'm going to do a campfire type of thing on an iron skillet. Green vegetable. I'm going to wash this though first, clean it up, and then get cooking right around sunset right now. There's always food if you know where to look. And a quick FYI, when you're doing the nettle cleaning, I personally don't like this part at the top here, so I'll remove that, and then I'll only have the fresh leaf to use for the dish. And I just, for some reason, I know you could, it's very young still, there's nothing to really sting your mouth, but I find it too tough sometimes, and if you don't cook it all the way through, you basically need to boil this for a much longer time than the leaf. I don't eat this part. Leaf only. I know I'm a purist, but... Well, I've been out in the garden and I was picking this vitamin C rich stinging nettle. I'm going to cook it in here. Got this thing cured up. But first, we're going to need to make a fire down in here. Alright, so let's start off with a little light here. I'm not going to use this fire to start the fire, of course not. But I do need a little bit of light so I can see what I want to cut for the timber. Got a little kindling. Now remember, it did rain a bit ago. Of course you're going to want a decent hand axe, you know, so you can get that. Make sure, you know, pretty sharp there. Get a good gauge on that one. I just want to get a little kindling here. Start off, let's see. Try to fluff it up a bit, you know. Leave it like a little nest in there. Now, how prepared are you for all these changes that are coming in, you know? I mean, I try to do something every single day. And going today to pick up these stinging nettles, I'm wondering if that'll be enough. Maybe, maybe not. I'll try a little more because I can go get this pretty easy on my own land. So the stinging nettles today, and I went up to my friend's garden, and they're getting ready. We're going to be tilling that thing under. I wanted to help their family. For me, it's the knowledge. They need the hands. I want the knowledge because they're master gardeners. They don't do anything. Everything's organic, and they're going to be tilling that in the next couple of days. So for me, I was like, you think I could come by and help you? And we walked the land a little bit today, or their garden. And those vitamin C rich plants are growing everywhere. Now we also found mountain mint, which is something a little different. But looking through the whole landscape of things, you know, as we move forward through these changes, you're going to have to start to be able to possibly wild forage, whatever. Look for different plant sources to be able to supplement what might not be available at the supermarket. So, you know, as you peruse through your local area, if you know what grows in certain times of the year, you know, you should be able to find some wild vegetables that are out there for free from nature. Because this thing is equivalent to spinach for sure, equivalent on vitamin C, maybe even higher, stinging nettles. And remember, micronutrients are going to be one of the things that are going to be a little more hard to come by to keep your body healthy and safe during these times. Remember, every grand solar minimum, the biggest thing was people are going to get sick a lot because they just simply don't have the right nutrition going into their bodies. And that's what you want to avoid, is not getting enough nutrition. So if you know what the highest vitamin C rich plants are in your area, I know apples are coming in season right now. There's a lot of places where you can get wild apples and whatnot for free. So you want to start to think about what's growing around your area that there's a plentiful supply of. Maybe start canning that up, because the family I was with, they have so many jars and cans. I mean, I thought I was, you know, going somewhere with my preps, but I feel like I'm about 6,000 miles behind looking at their kit. All right, so just got everything basic, and then I'll probably put these on top once they start. And I got a little more of this, you know, bigger wood here to drop on once it starts. And that's all this is really for, this axe, just to try to get some pieces for breaking. And remember, if you do cut yourself, man, that's going to be a bad thing in this time moving through. Because I had to get a few stitches the other day on my foot because I messed up. And it's still, you know, it's healing, but don't cut your fingers. I should be wearing gloves actually when I'm doing this, so don't listen to me. You sure could use lighter fluid, but in a grid down situation, you're going to have lighter fluid? I don't think so. Alright, so we got the fire going. Now even though the wood's wet, I can still get it to dry out a little bit. Here we go. I know I shouldn't reach over the fire. Thanks, Mom. So. See, that other piece is too heavy, so I just put another brace there. Now it can start up, really get fired up in there, and then I'll bring the coals. No, we don't need that anymore. That was enough to start us off. I could have used the lamp oil, but that would be wasting the lamp oil. Wait, in a grid down, you're not going to have any of this. In the world we're moving into, these types of luxuries of the lighters, it's going to change a little bit. Get extra lighters and also get a couple tanks, and then you can buy the things that will refill the Bic lighters with the butane. Also make sure you get plenty of propane. And with propane, then you can get different size tanks. Make sure you have, I would say, at least 6 of the 20-pounders and then maybe 2 or 3 100-pound tanks. That way you could refill, and then you get the small green bottles like I showed you. I had a little camp stove. Then you can even refill those. So you can use something bigger to refill something smaller. Plus, as it was explained to me, I was asking somebody the other day, why don't we get a super giant tank of like, a couple thousand pounds? They're like, you can't take that to get filled. So 20-pound tanks, you can take those in the back of your truck. You can go get that stuff filled. But when you're thinking about something that's 2,000 pounds, they have to come to your place to deliver it. So smaller is better here when you're thinking about different types of, propane deliveries, butane, whatnot. But this, wood. It's a perfect thing to cook with. Wood-burning stoves, and then an ample supply of dry wood. And like I say, it rained on this, and that's the reason it took a little bit to get going. You can still see it's a bit smoking. So, and that's all, what it is to start a fire. Now, starting the fire is easy. All we have to do is keep adding logs now. And, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I want to get some embers and put a couple more big ones on there. Like I said, this stuff's wet, pretty wet on the outside, but once it gets going, John Hickman over at Primitive Ways in the UK was always telling me too, even if this thing's totally soaked, there's dry wood on the middle. So if you're able to use an axe and then just like I was doing here, I was trying to get to the dry part right in the center here. Trying to, wouldn't say cut each piece off, but See how it's a little bit different colored in there. So if I was able to so it's all dry in there now, and I can just cut the outside off if I want to and keep getting back to the dry wood. Might be wet on this side. When you get on the inside, it's always dry. But watch your fingers when you're doing it. Yeah. Last thing you want to do is get a super deep cut in an emergency or in the forest. Neither good. That'll be the final log, and hopefully we'll get enough coals out of there to be able to cook on that thing. With the lodge here, I mean, you're like, yeah, all that for just what? For a thing of spinach? Yeah. A thing of nettles, actually. So yes, indeed it is. Okay, so we're going to use the natural nettles here. Found all this for free. It's a weed. As long as there's no spray on it, you're good. I'm going to add in some romaine lettuce, a sliver of basil. Then we're going to cook these kipper snacks, bone this in. So part of your long-term food storage, you got to have some fish somewhere. So be able to cook that in with it, and then, you know, there you got something. And I'm going to get some toast. I think I have oat bread in there. We'll do some toast with some butter on there. And that should fry up real nice. Put it on a plate. My thing is, do I have a plate anywhere? Again, if you're on the run somewhere, you're not going to have everything you need. Think about that. You're on the run, something happens, you're out the door, and, you know, you got what you got. These are banana peppers. Again, a lot of nutrients in there. Just cut the seeds out, not very spicy. I'm going to try to eat what I can while I'm making this. And remember, I have a paper bowl. What do you have around you if you ran out of the house? Would you take your dishes with you? So remember, if you're going to get some kit together, make sure you get some paper bowls. Maybe paper plates. These things, you can use them once, you can throw them away. You don't have to worry about the food stench, not doing dishes. You can burn them when you're finished. And they're incredibly light. Like this weighs not even like 2 ounces. And if you get 100 of these and they're disposable, everybody can use, they don't have to share anything. You don't have to worry about cleaning up. And remember, in a real situation like that, where if it comes down to something like this, water cuts off, you're not going to want to have dishes around to be able to wash or not wash. So these are pretty easy to toss away. So think about that. In terms of something you're probably going to want to buy, you know, 400 or 500 of these plates. And you know, when I went into Costco, I saw all this stuff was selling out, and I thought, oh, game on. Everybody's understanding that this is going to be real easy to, you know, share, throw away, bury, whatever. And there's really no upkeep on it. I don't have a fire poker. I could use a collapsible saw if I need to. That way, super lightweight. You can saw things, branches, whatever for kindling, but also you can move things around the fire. Because I used all my small kindling, so I'm going to have to go chip another piece just to get a fire stick, but this thing also grabs real well. You can pull things right in there and move things around with leverage like you cannot do with a stick. This thing's great because it pulls things toward you. This thing I can just, bring it right up there. So would this be a fireside chat, maybe? It's going right about here, so I can't go much further back without burning my chair, and I don't want to do that. The heat line's right about here. Right here is much cooler. Right there it's pretty hot. So wind stopped. There was some wind earlier. But let me try to focus this up a bit. Supply chain's breaking down everywhere. Still. Did a report on some lumber earlier today, talking about trying to mill your own lumber if you could. So that was a previous video. Now you got a couple options here. These lumber prices have gone to all-time highs. So what it means for you and me too, because I just bought some land and we're building a few things out there, some pole barns, wood shed to keep the stuff dry. Because you saw in the beginning of the video how difficult it was to get wet kindling, a wet bird's nest, and wet wood started. Contractors are running at least 2, maybe 3 months before they'll even give you a meeting. So you might know somebody who can help you, and there are a few people out of work, so just use your network to try to find people who can help build. Now, for things like pole barns, you're going to have to use Amish or somebody that's more old school to do that. If you're going to get somebody to build something rudimentary structure, like a woodshed or whatnot, people who know just nice carpentry, I'm not saying basic, but not super advanced, double dovetailing, no nails kind of held together thing, somewhere in the middle there, could be able to help you do that. And if you want to put the time in to help them and learn a little bit too, basic carpentry is something that almost every farmer through history has known. How to repair something, how to put two pieces together, how to get them to fit, slotting and different kind of things, and like I say, dovetails. We just don't use that anymore. Old school does when there's no nails. So maybe there's going to be no nails. What would you use for the glue to keep it together? Before they used to use horse hooves, that kind of stuff. Looking across, vegetables seem to be in shorter supply because of the lack of laborers to go pick it in California, which is having a direct effect on these supply chains for food inbound. As I went to this local garden center where I bought some tools, bare shelves everywhere. Everything was bare. I mean, I got the last hand scythe, I got the last saw. They still had pruners, and it was down to like the last 2 sets of pruners. Gloves, I bought as many, if you go get as many pairs of gloves as you can. If you buy 10, 20 pair of gloves, believe me, you'll need them later. Those things are almost all made in China. They're not coming back anytime soon. So until we start making it in America again, or making it in Canada, next best is made in Mexico, but it's going to take a while to bring those factories back there too. You might pay a little more. Just be lucky you can get it right now. So forget the price. You can get it or you cannot get it. So the dollar value means nothing now, because as we march down into Late autumn, supply chains are going to constrict further, and you either had something or you didn't. Because, you know, coming around, think about it, in the first lockdown, when you couldn't get the rubbing alcohol, couldn't get the hand sanitizer, like instead of spending the $2 when you could have got the hand sanitizer, when you can't get it, you're like, I'll pay $20 for it, I'll pay $10, 5 times, 10 times the price to get it, just to get it. Well, you got it now. Get it. Gloves, for sure. Tools, any kind of tools. Bicycles disappearing. Home goods, homewares. Everywhere you look across the entire landscape, things are just disappearing slowly. They're not being refilled, though. So what's the most essential items if you're going to be moving forward through a transition period like this? You might need to get out on the land. And again, I'm just always checking. I'm very fire conscious because that's the fastest way to lose everything you own, is letting that get out of control. What happens if our highways get blocked and nothing comes in? Do you have any extra seeds that you could sprout for 7 to 14 days to be able to get you at least vegetable in your house? What do you have in terms of the food supply? You know, I got that little can of the Kipper Snacks. I think it cost me $2, boneless, really delicious flavor, adds a smoky effervescence to it. Change the real, they're here, and they're going to intensify. So when this next lockdown comes, you know, looking at North Korea today and seeing that 60% of the people are going into a famine there, that they're asking people to turn in their dogs for food. And then in the States here, you know, people are abducting horses and using them for meat source. So it's the 6th horse abduction, meat raid on a horse now. Read back in the Great Depression, you'll see that all the game was hunted out. So he said, oh, I'm just going to go hunt. And yeah, good luck, you and everybody else. Rabbits, I see a fair few rabbits around here. Passed 3 deer on the road today, but if they were being hunted, they wouldn't have been on the road. They'd have been long, long gone. So the more that stuff gets hunted, the more difficult they are going to be to hunt, because they know they're being hunted, so they're so deep in the forest. You're not going to find roadside deer any longer, just probably after the first 4 or 5 days, 3 days, they're going to be like, we're out of here. So think you're going to go hunt. Wild foraging for veggies is a great thing, because most people will walk right by it. If you can be an expert on even like 5 vegetables that are edibles that you could walk around and find that are considered quote-unquote weeds that are food, that puts you in a whole category of wild foraging. If you know 5, if you know 10, people will be like, wow, where's this? Okay, so I just got a little bit of olive oil in here, just a little bit. So combine this with some lettuce too. So I'm going to do a whole, yeah. Look how much free food that was. Now I know it's going to take a minute to cook down, but give it a second. Magic's going to happen. Let's see, now the handle's getting a little hot, so. I need a bigger pot. Yeah, definitely got too much in there. I can feel the heat from right here, though. Right there. Yep. Alright, so let's see what these kipper snacks look like. These are really nice. These are one of my favorites. They're a couple bucks a can. The flavor's going to be outrageous. And it flakes off real nice, too. Oh, it's hot. On break. Simple. This meal cost me $2, the can of tuna. Everything else is free. Nature. Irish bara. Waste not, want not. Oh, gold. That's going to be usable in the future when the U.S. dollar collapses. Oat bread. We got a little bit of butter on the side there. Notice using your hands a lot more, so it's trying to keep everything clean. I washed my hands a couple times in between this. So, after I did the wood, I went in and washed my hands, or at least rinse them off so you can keep them clean. Touching the vegetables, you got a few things that you use your hands a lot more. I mean, if you don't have the right utensils, you're going to be down to using basics again. So, where does it go from here? You either are going to be ready or you're not. Okay, thanks for watching. And to wrap up, my whole meal cost me $2 because stinging nettles, which I should have harvested a whole field full, and the head of lettuce were from a local farmer. And just because I gave a little bit of help, they gave me some free vegetables. The can of the kippers, $2. Time, though, this took me an hour and a half from start to finish, to start the fire, to cook it, to get it in there. I haven't eaten yet. If I was at home and I could have and then used a gas burner, I could have been done in 15 minutes. It is relaxing, though, to start the fire. And the key thing, if a group of people were working on this, it would have gone 5 times faster. One person lights the fire. One person gets the coals ready. One person gets the food ready. Working it this way. So, thinking about the kit, somebody could have cut the wood while the fire was burning. There's a lot of other things that people could have taken turns doing in a group. So you're going to have to keep practicing your skill sets of whatever it is. I mean, this is the most basic rudimentary thing you can do, is light a fire to cook food. this is it. This is like the base level. What I did last time, opening a can with a stone, okay, that was just fun because I wanted to make it difficult. And this is a great way to keep bugs away, but it's a great way to signal your position too. So if you're going to want to cook when there's other people around and you're trying to hide, it might add a whole element to that. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. These changes are real, and why would I cook my food for an hour and a half on a fire when I could just go inside and turn on the gas burner? Sometimes you're just not going to have, well, any other option. And then when you know, see, for me, now I know this, great. I'll be the one that starts the fire. You guys get the food ready, we'll cook, and we'll eat together. Shared skill sets. I know there could have been better ways to do the fire. If you have an idea, put it in the description box below. Remember, I was using wet everything tonight to start it. So I had to go from trying to find dry wood on the inside of a log to get that kindling to then start something. So I had to use more the TP method versus the stacked Rubik's Cube. Conditions change, your style needs to change too. So, until we see each other again, bye for now.